Welcome to the Drunk Astrology Podcast, your cosmic cheat code to building a life you're obsessed with. I'm your host, Graham Breitenstein. I'm a professional astrologer, certified oracle card reader, and the creator of Drunk Astrology. And I'm also a former professional dancer for artists like Lady Gaga, Meghan Trainor, Idina Menzel, Charlie Puth, turned astrologer for names like Lizzo, celebrity trainer Shaun T, and longevity expert Elise Joan. These days, I help everyone from seven-figure business owners to stay-at-home moms actually apply astrology as a strategic tool so they can stop scrambling and start making an impact in their everyday lives. Because here's the truth. The real power of astrology isn't in predicting your future. The real power is giving you the context for the season of life you're in right now and the opportunities available to you inside of it. So if you're ready to manifest big, make your next move with intention, and finally work with the universe instead of against it, you're in the right place. Let's lock the F in. Welcome to another episode of the Drunk Astrology Podcast, and I have a question for you. What if I told you that one of my astrology coaching clients used a release date that I chose based on her birth chart and the current planetary transits and went on to win a freaking Grammy? Well, it's the truth. And in today's episode, I actually have two clients, both singers, very different realities. However, the thing that connects both of them is that I used their charts and the planetary transits to choose the dates at which they would launch projects that meant the world to them for very different reasons and in various levels or experiences in their career. And you know what the best part is? That the point of this episode is not, if you're a singer, use astrology to pick your launch dates. It is actually how alignment and timing and success work together in choosing when you do something, when you put forth effort towards something that means a lot to you, how when you time those efforts, success becomes easier. The process becomes more seamless, not effortless, because using astrology to pick things like release dates and offer, like when you release a new offer, when you launch a course, when you start your new mastermind, when you decide when your next open house is going to be, it does not eliminate the work required for you to be successful, but what it does do is open the path for success to find you simpler, easier, and more often than not, even better than you think is possible. So a lot of people will focus on what they're doing, what they're launching. Some people will end up focusing too much time on how they're going to launch it, the strategy behind all of their efforts, right? And timing is a key part of your strategy. But when you're too in the weeds focusing on how launch is going to happen, that's where things get a little iffy and dicey. And almost no one focuses on when they're launching in terms of astrological timing methods. And that's mainly because you don't know. And you don't know what you don't know. And that's exactly what we're going to solve today. We're going to solve that problem because once you know this, you never have to put forth effort towards anything that you really care about in a way that is just very poorly timed. And if you're not tracking astrology every single day like I am, then, that becomes like, well, how am I supposed to know? Well, that's why people like me, astrologers like me, exist on this planet to help you in moments like this, right? So picking the best wedding date, picking the best times to announce your open house, launching your next mastermind, reworking, renaming, and revising a course that you put out like 8 years ago. When to actually reconfigure all of that and then reintroduce it to the world. This is what this episode is really, really about. And no, astrology didn't write the songs, record the album, or win the Grammy. But what it absolutely did do was help us choose the perfect moment to introduce that work to the world that aligned with my client's intentions. And so that's what we're gonna discuss right here, right now, and we're not gonna waste any more time. We're gonna get right on to it. Because the biggest mistake that people will make is, and what both of my clients in this case almost did, was just listen to, well, industry standards are that you release a new album on a Thursday. That's the industry standard. And in both instances, this would have been a huge mistake for the Grammy winner and for the independent artist who was reintroducing herself to her peers, her community, her industry. Both of them would have been at a severe disadvantage had they just followed industry standards. And that's because I was looking at their charts and saying, listen, I know you want it to be a Thursday. Now, for one, it worked out. But for the other one, we did not go with a Thursday. So besides them, a lot of people will just choose random launch dates, or they'll just follow trends that they see on Instagram and on TikTok. And it's really unfortunate because the trends do not have longevity, right? The trends are great for, visibility, getting eyes on you, eyes on your content. But the trends aren't going to be what really speak to long-term success, which is what we want to use astrology for, right? We want to plant seeds with your efforts that won't just be a hit and quit. What good is that? Unless your intention is to hit and quit, and then then that's a whole nother discussion, and we look at that in your chart. Fun story, I actually feel like Adele has an astrologer because I have tracked how she does album launches and then how she'll tour them or do a residency and then she disappears forever. And I have a whole theory on her having an astrologer because there's a connector with her releasing albums on eclipses, and eclipses do bring this mass appeal, mass success, and then the roller coaster dip, then she gets to bow out. So Adele, if you ever happen to hear this, we need to know, do you work with an astrologer, and have you intentionally chosen eclipses to launch your albums? Because your boy has a theory. And if not, let's talk. I mean, can you just imagine spending 2 years creating something amazing and then introducing it to the world on just some completely random day? that would be a huge disservice, right? So just think about something that you're really passionate about. Think about your career. Think about, like if you've got like an Etsy store and, you're trying to make sales and you're used to being like, oh, the summertime is slow and like, oh, I always do best at the holidays. And then miss all of these other like ripe opportunities, the other like 9 months of the year when people are shopping, because everyone's shopping, and like missing all these like delicious opportunities that are written in your chart, right? So, or like the costume designer who's like gonna first do her first collection or her first show in some way, and like it be this new venture that you're opening yourself up to, and then like just choosing some like random industry standard day that actually does not pair well with your chart, or the real estate agent who's like, oh my God, I just left my corporate job and now I'm going to like list my first house. Gosh, I hope people show up. And instead, we could be looking at your chart and going like, okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to do it on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because Venus is in perfect alignment in your 7th house as like a random option, right? Because what I don't want you to fall into the trap of is just planning a launch or, having some kind of strategy towards, some project that means a lot to you, but never actually consider the timing of it, because your birth chart literally is your personal timing hack. It literally will tell you and show you. Now, to you, it might look like hieroglyphics, but to someone like me, it's all, it all makes sense, you basically become a hieroglyphic interpreter when you become an astrologer. Sounds crazy, but it's true. So let's do the Grammy Award winner client first. Now, whenever I help plan any kind of launch dates, release dates, etc., I always start with one question. It doesn't matter who I'm talking to, whether it's the independent artist, whether it's a Grammy award-winning famous celebrity artist. And that question is, or if it's a realtor, or if it's a therapist, a lot of my coaching clients they're a wide spectrum of people with different career paths and everything. But when we pick dates for certain things, my one question that stands, it's what I ask all of them. My God, Graham, use your words. Is what's your intention? What is your intention for this album? In this case, in this episode, we're going to be using these two artists. And the Grammy winner said, I want to share my healing journey. And by sharing my healing journey, I want to also help my fans heal on theirs. And so that right there was all I needed to do. That's all I needed to know to then look at her chart and decide exactly when the best date would be to land on that intention, right? Because it wasn't about selling 2 million copies. It wasn't about winning a Grammy. It wasn't about accolades. It was, I want to share my healing journey, and by sharing, I want to help heal my fans on their journey. So, after looking at her chart, now we have been working together for some time at this point. So, after looking at her chart in this way with this intention, I decided to pick the day that Chiron, the wounded healer, can you already hear it? The day that Chiron stationed direct, not only because Chiron stationed direct that day, and Chiron has this huge emphasis on healing and turning our pain into wisdom. Not only was Chiron stationing direct, but it was also beautifully aspecting key planets in her chart. And if you've been here a while, you know I love the moon. Oh, and you know I love the moon phases. The day that Chiron stationed direct also landed the day after the Aquarius full moon. And full moons are great for putting something out. And Aquarius is that energy of to be received by a big group, a large audience, right? So pairing those two together, you know what ended up happening? It landed on a freaking Thursday. And had she just gone with like what industry standard was, she was going to choose just a random ass Thursday. And not in my world. Oh, we don't do that. And because we chose the date we chose and she put it out, it was well received by the masses, as we could indicate from the Aquarius full moon impact. We saw, like, literally in the first week, because I was, of course, all up in her comments, like, looking at, like, what fans were saying. And the wide received message that was just like over and over and over again was that this album had healed them in special ways. I mean, people were saying it in all their various different circumstances and how they related to, you know, the content of the album. And then, lo and behold, the album wins a freaking Grammy. Now, this is one way, right? In one client scenario where it was like, bam, here's alignment, here's timing, and here's your unique imprint, right? Using your birth chart as what I call your cosmic DNA, your timing blueprint for major moments and major projects that mean something to you. No, it didn't write the album, you know? No, it didn't, replace the marketing team that's required behind, you know, an artist of this size. But it pulled all of those efforts and energies together and said, this is when you have the best shot at prime success, and not just for, you know, a little bit of time. This stood the test of time and over a year later earned a Grammy. You know what I mean? That's where we're looking to use astrology for longevity of success, not just hit and quit, unless, like I said with Adele, I feel like there is intention around, like, look, I want to drop this, and then I want to, like, do a quick little tour, and then I want to go be with my family, right? Like, because that's a different intention, right? This client, my astrology coaching client, did not have that intention, right? Healing was her intention. And we aligned healing with mass appeal to make sure that, like, this was a very big moment for her fans, and the trajectory of her career. Chef's freaking kiss. Now, to contrast this, then earlier this year, in 2026, I meet an independent artist who knew that I was an astrologer, knew that I, have been a professional dancer, and I've been a movement director and an assistant choreographer, and I've been in the industry forever. And she was not a Grammy artist, she wasn't on a major label. She didn't have a huge budget. But what she did have was a project that she had been working on for almost a year, her debut album. And she wanted to make sure that this was like her moment, right? Like, she wanted to really reintroduce herself as her own artist and step out from behind supporting other artists, right? Like, she had been a background vocalist for over 10 years. She had developed a little bit of a fan base because she was on The Voice. She was on Kelly Clarkson's team. And she really wanted to be like, look, like, yes, you've seen me sing background for like all of the stars that you love, but I have a story too. And I have a voice too. I have stories that I want to tell in my own unique way. And so when I asked her, what's your intention for the album? That's when she told me, I want to reintroduce myself. I want to be seen as my own artist. And I want to be outside the shadow of the artists that I support. And so I was just like, great. Well, I can do a lot with that. And so with this artist, this client, I was dealing with a Libra sun and a Taurus rising. Both signs are ruled by Venus. And so I knew that I needed Venus to be in a strong position. I needed Venus as a planet to be well aspected. I needed her to be prominent in my client's chart. And what I ended up doing was not just choosing the day that Venus was in a delicious conjunction to her natal Venus in her chart. Oh, no. I narrowed it down to the day, which was a Wednesday, not the industry standard of Thursday. Because, like, my God, I was like, look, I've heard all the industry standard stuff before. Let me tell you, not the mood when you're working with your own timing system, right? When you really want to be when you have the intention that you have, like, you're going to want to, like, be open, right? And she was, thank goodness. There was no pushback on that. But I didn't just choose the day. I didn't choose a Wednesday that was just random. I chose a 7-minute time frame. The exact window of time that this album needed to be released. And now there's a number of reasons why, and that would make this episode way too long. But there's a number of very astro-nerdy reasons why I chose this 7-minute time frame. And let me tell you, she followed the strategies that I gave her to a T. Not just the timing window, but also like the ways in which she would sell her album. And guess what? She made more money in 5 days than she had in 10 years of streaming her music. And now, at this point from when I'm recording this episode, we're looking at this point, I think we're about 2.5 months later. She has more than doubled album sales from when she first launched, meaning she's made literally probably 5 times, maybe even 6 times the amount of money than she's ever made in over 10 years combined. And then the best part, because I got this little tidbit from her recently, she is on tour in Europe singing background with another artist, and guess what? That artist found out that she had her own album, she had her own project, and she gave her a spot in her set to sing her own music and to promote her own album. Now, this is when I say using astrology not only makes success, basically inevitable. Not only that, it makes it simpler, it makes it easier, and even better than you even imagine. I have toured the world with some of the biggest singers, artists on the freaking planet, and that's not even, me being hyperbolic. I have. And when I tell you, they are not they're not the people that will just donate time of their own show for another artist on their stage to promote their work. That is highly, highly abnormal. And yet, this client, this independent artist, has not only been financially successful, more so than she has in the 10 years that she's been doing this without strategically timing her launches, but she goes on tour with another artist, and the other artist is like, oh my God, you got your own album? Like, here, sing some of your songs, promote your album, sell your album in my show. That right there, not only is that a class act, that is what I mean when I say even better than you imagine. These are the kind of pathways that you open up when you strategically plan and time launching projects that matter to you, the efforts that matter to you, the dates, the weddings, the launches, the masterminds, the courses, the open houses, the new endeavor that you're doing, the new Etsy shop, your new collection. This is the magic of using your birth chart and the current planetary transits. Do you get more chef's kiss than that? I don't think so. And so what both of these stories really teach here is that, it's not about music. And for each of my clients, it's about their music for sure. But the thing that connects you to these stories is you have your own timing blueprint, aka your birth chart. Alignment is different for everyone because everyone literally has a different birth chart, including twins. And your intention, whatever intention you want to set for a launch, an effort, a project, etc., that's how you can use your chart. Now, you probably, will be like, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, that's all right. That's why astrologers like me exist. But that's the point of these two stories. Timing, completely different. Alignment, totally different. And the intentions, completely different. However, using their individual chart and the planetary transits led to massive success. One was more obvious and very well known because it's a celebrity. And the other, personal success, broke through barriers that she had not been able to break in over 10 years. This is why I do what I do. So if you're a coach launching a new program, if you're a realtor listing homes, if you're creating courses, if you've got an Etsy shop, if you're an author, if you're a speaker, if you're a service provider in some way, if you are what I call a spirit gangsta, a spiritual entrepreneur, don't take random action because the universe is dying to support you. But you got to work with your own mechanism. You've got to work with your own blueprint, your own cosmic DNA, which is your natal birth chart. Okay? So to reiterate, to just bring us home, astrology isn't replacing the hard work. Astrology is definitely not replacing the talent. It's definitely not replacing marketing efforts. But what astrology is doing is identifying favorable timing windows. It is helping align your actions with intentions, and it's helping to amplify your efforts. All right? So astrology is not going to necessarily make a bad idea an epic success, but it can absolutely help a great idea, a great project, a great course, a great house, etc., reach more of the people that it's meant for. So I ask you, dear listener, the question isn't whether your next launch will happen or your next, the next moment in your therapy business will happen. The question is whether you're going to launch it randomly and just kind of like free willy-nilly, or if you're going to be strategic about it so you protect your effort, your hard work, and ensure that it's cosmically just interwoven with success codes all in that bitch. That's what we're looking for. So whether you're launching a course, you're listing a home, you're releasing an album, you're opening enrollment, you're announcing a retreat. Raise Your Vibe retreat in 2026. By the way, we have 2 private rooms left. We're going to the Outer Banks September 30th through October 4th. Book your spot. Publishing a book? I digress. Whether you're publishing a book or just finally putting your individual work out into the world, your birth chart contains the timing opportunities that most people will just either go through life and never know, which, no one's wrong for that. It's just so sad, but you're here. And now you know that this is the magic of astrology, right? I mean, I can tell you that, oh boy, like pre-pandemic times, I remember working with clients who were going through a divorce. And just for like curiosity's sake, I went to look at their wedding date and I went, yeah, unfortunately, like this was poorly timed, like not good at all. Like we don't want that. Like, damn, it's a shame. I mean, I did end up, coaching her through a divorce, and she got exactly what she wanted. I mean, she was almost going to burn it all to the ground. And it was a very different story. The intention was very different, but that's a story for another time. But astrology did help in that case, because boy, it was not looking good, and turn that ish around. To this day, I usually get like an annual message from that client that was like, thank you. Thank you. I don't have to worry about all of the things that I was worried about, and like my kids are happy, like yay. So, even things like divorces, can be enhanced from an astrological standpoint, because again, it's all about timing and it's all about intention. So if you want help identifying the most strategic timing for your next launch or your next effort, some project that really means a lot to you, then send me a DM on Instagram. Just like send me the word timing. That's all. Just send me timing. And we'll talk about your goals. We'll talk about your birth chart. And we'll talk about like the best ways that you and I can work together to make your desired outcome, whatever that is, an inevitable success. Yeah? All right. That is it for me. Have a great freaking day, night, morning, afternoon, whenever you are pressing play on this. Have a great friggin' day. And until next time, I'll see you later on the Drunk Astrology Podcast. Bye. If this episode hit for you, don't keep it to yourself. Send it to a friend, drop it in the group chat, or share it to your Instagram stories and tag me so I can hype you up. And if you're ready to tap into what's going on for you right now, I got you. There is a free oracle card reading waiting for you in the show notes. It'll give you insight into the energy and opportunity around you right now, help you navigate any challenges, and clarify your next best move so you can start making decisions with confidence today. And if you're sitting there thinking, I don't want to just listen, I want to actually apply astrology to my life, well, that's exactly what I help my clients do in the Daily Dose of Stars Energy Report, birth chart readings, my Moon Phase Manifestor program, and my one-on-one coaching containers. All the details are linked in the show notes below. And if you've got a question that you want me to answer here on the podcast, just tap that text me link in the show notes and send it my way. I might just answer it in a future episode. Wink, wink. Until next time, trust yourself and manifest big.